The entertainment world woke up to disbelief. In the early hours of a cool Seoul morning, every screen flickered with the same headline: Ha Ji-won married at 47. The announcement felt less like a press release and more like an aftershock, something too big, too sudden, too impossible to absorb. For over 2 decades she had been the untouchable icon of Korean cinema, graceful, strong, forever luminous, yet carefully unreachable. And now, without warning, she was a bride. Reporters scrambled, phones buzzed, studios rewrote morning lineups, and fans all over Asia flooded timelines with heart emojis and broken hearts in equal measure. Ha Ji-won? Married? The woman who had once said in an interview that her true love is acting? The woman who never once admitted to dating rumors despite years of speculation? It seemed like a fairy tale whispered in the middle of a thunderstorm. What made the revelation even more startling was the way it happened. There was no glossy magazine cover, slow media build-up, no publicity campaign. The confirmation came quietly, through a cryptic agency statement at dawn, almost hesitant in tone. If even the publicists still couldn't believe it. Ha Ji-won has recently held a private wedding ceremony in Seoul, it read. She is grateful for the support of her fans and asks for understanding as this was a personal decision. Those 2 short sentences detonated like a bomb across the internet. Within minutes, her name topped global trends. Journalists dug through archives. Tabloids dusted off every past interview. Entertainment channels replayed her iconic scenes as though searching for clues she had left behind. Who was the man she had chosen after 47 years of solitude? Was it an old co-star? A secret love hidden in plain sight? Or someone completely outside the glittering sphere of show business? To understand why this one piece of news could rattle an entire industry, one has to understand who Ha Ji-won truly is. For millions, she is not merely an actress, she is a legend carved in silk and steel. From the moment she appeared on screen in the late 1990s, she radiated something rare, a quiet power that could move mountains without raising her voice. In Secret Garden she made viewers laugh and ache in the same breath. In Empress Key she ruled an empire in every heart watching. She wasn't the kind of celebrity who chased trends. She became the trend itself. Yet, beyond the dazzling roles and flawless red carpet poise, she guarded her private life like a fortress. While other stars flirted with gossip columns, vanished between projects, surfacing only for work or philanthropy, rumors came and went, linking her to actors, directors, even foreign businessmen, but she never confirmed a single one. That silence, paradoxically, became her charm. Fans called her the Mystery Queen, journalists called her the Fortress of Grace. That's why the idea of a wedding felt almost mythological. Ha Ji-won had built a career on transparency in her craft but opacity in her heart. And now, curtain had lifted. But only halfway. The first photographs began circulating hours after the statement, grainy, low-lit images taken from a distance. A silhouette in ivory. Soft gleam of lanterns. The outline of a woman whose posture alone was unmistakable. Even blurred. She exuded elegance. She wasn't posing for cameras, she was living in a moment no camera could contain. Eyewitness accounts slowly surfaced. One guest described the ceremony as a dream woven in silence. Another called it a love letter whispered under candlelight. The event, it turned out, had taken place in one of Seoul's most exclusive gardens, an estate hidden behind high walls and ancient trees. Only about 50 guests were invited, family, lifelong friends, and a few industry seniors who had mentored her since her debut. No reporters, no press banners, no brand sponsorships. It was as if Ha Ji-won had decided to write her own ending scene, free of all the noise that fame demands. The atmosphere, guests said, was breathtaking. Autumn had just brushed the air with gold. Hundreds of paper lanterns floated above the garden pond, their reflections trembling like stars. The music was soft, traditional Korean strings interlaced with a subtle piano melody. At the center of it all stood Ha Ji-won, dressed in a gown that blended old and new, tradition and rebellion. It wasn't the extravagant couture expected from a top-tier actress. Instead, it was art in fabric form, silk embroidered with chrysanthemums, symbolizing longevity and love enduring through hardship. When she appeared, the audience reportedly gasped. One guest whispered later, "It felt like watching history. Not just a wedding, but the mystery deepened. While everyone saw the bride, no one outside that garden saw the groom. His identity was guarded like a state secret." The agency refused to comment. Friends gave only polite smiles when questioned. Even veteran reporters admitted defeat. This is the tightest lock I've seen in 30 years of entertainment journalism. One anchor confessed during a live broadcast. Absence of facts. Imagination rushed in. Netizens turned detectives. Entire threads were dedicated to analyzing who stood beside her. Some believed it was a film director she had worked with in the early 2000s, pointing to his sudden absence from social media. Swore it was a humanitarian organization executive she had met through charity work in Africa. A third faction insisted the Groom must be a fellow actor, citing on-screen chemistry from past dramas. Screenshots, interviews, red carpet photos, every pixel became potential evidence. While theories spiraled, Ha Ji-won remained silent. No interviews, no statements, not even a subtle post on her social accounts. The silence only amplified the curiosity. Each passing hour made the world lean closer. Who was he? How did they meet? Why now? For all these years? Insiders painted fragments of a bigger picture. One stylist hinted that Ha Ji-won had been unusually serene in recent months. A makeup artist revealed that she had mentioned feeling finally understood. Those who knew her best described the glow they couldn't explain. One of her longtime assistants told a magazine, anonymously, "She's always been disciplined, focused on work. But lately, there was softness in her eyes, like she'd found a home." The media pounced on every crumb. Entertainment talk shows devoted entire segments to Operation Groom reveal. Panelists compared voice patterns from leaked wedding clips, trying to identify the mysterious man reciting vows beside her. Fans slowed down the audio, convinced they heard an accent, maybe foreign. Could it be someone from outside Korea? The thought electrified the conversation. A cross-border romance? A cultural fusion? Theories multiplied faster than anyone could debunk them. Still, there was something dignified in how Ha Ji-won handled the frenzy, by not handling it at all. She didn't correct rumors or tease fans with half-truths. Silence was her statement. In an era where every celebrity posts daily updates for validation, her refusal to perform made her stand apart once again. It was as if she was saying, "This is mine. For once, the spotlight is not invited." Meanwhile, the wedding images, though scarce, painted a love story through glimpses, the bride laughing through tears. A man's hand gently placed over hers. The faint outline of a dark suit beside the ivory gown. The emotional intensity of those blurred photos told a deeper truth than any press release could. There was tenderness there, something real, raw, and utterly human. By the third day, global entertainment outlets had joined the hunt. CNN Asia ran the headline, "K-drama queen's secret wedding shocks fans worldwide." Japanese and Taiwanese media mirrored the story, each inserting their own speculation. Even Hollywood gossip pages joined in, framing her as the Korean Nicole Kidman of mystery. In a single weekend, Ha Ji-won's name had transcended borders yet again, but this time, not through a drama, through her life. What made the frenzy fascinating was how emotionally invested people became. For many, Ha Ji-won symbolized resilience. She had carried Korean entertainment through eras of change, from historical dramas to modern thrillers, adapting yet never losing her identity. To see her married at 47 wasn't scandal, it was vindication. A triumph for late love, mature love, self-chosen love. The world's reaction oscillated between shock and admiration, disbelief and inspiration. In fan communities, posts multiplied by the hour. One fan wrote, "She waited until she was ready. Until society said she should be." Another said, "Ha Ji-won has always written her own script. This is just her final plot twist." Memes turned the revelation into celebration. Clips from her dramas were re-edited into imaginary wedding montages. Hashtags like Queen Jiwon, number 47 and married, and Secret Garden of Love flooded timelines. And yet, beneath the laughter and joy, there remained that burning mystery, the groom. His absence in the public eye made the story feel incomplete. A film missing its final scene. The curiosity evolved into obsession. Paparazzi staked out hotels, airports, restaurants, anywhere she might appear. But she didn't. Ha Ji-won vanished once more, leaving only silence and speculation behind. Meanwhile, industry insiders whispered that the secrecy wasn't just about privacy, it was protection. Wanted to shield him. One confidant said, "Not everyone can handle the weight of her fame. She's seen what exposure does to relationships in this industry, indeed. Many remembered the collapse of celebrity couples under the harsh scrutiny of netizens. Ha Ji-won, it seemed, had learned from watching others burn. Days turned into weeks. Initial shock mellowed into reverent curiosity. Journalists began to write more reflective pieces about a meaning of love beyond youth, about how her marriage challenged outdated narratives of women and aging in entertainment. Commentators called it a cultural reset, praising her for showing that a woman could prioritize herself and still win. But deep down, everyone knew there was more to come. Something different about this story, an undercurrent of secrecy that hinted at something bigger. International perhaps. Of foreign guests at the ceremony began circulating. Claimed to have spotted a translator near the venue. Another guest allegedly spoke fluent Mandarin during the reception. The puzzle was expanding beyond Korea's borders. By the time Ha Ji-won's agency issued a brief follow-up, thanking fans for their understanding and requesting privacy, the question had evolved from who did she marry, to what does this mean for Asia's entertainment landscape. It was no longer a love story, it was a phenomenon. And yet, the simplest truth remained unsolved. Somewhere behind those garden walls stood a man who had waited in silence, loved her quietly, and changed the course of her life forever. The world wanted his name. A veteran columnist from Seoul Culture Daily summarized it best. For 25 years, Ha Ji-won's performances have made us believe in impossible love stories. Now, she's living one, and she's written the script herself. In coffee shops and offices, on subways and in chatrooms. Sentence echoed across languages, who is the groom? The question lingered in the air, heavy with suspense. For now, Ji-won remained a bride wrapped in mystery. Her story unfolding not on a drama set but in real life. Yet whispers from within the industry hinted that the answer, when it finally surfaced, would not only stun her fans but also reshape how Asia sees its stars, its borders, and its idea of love itself. Because the man who stood beside her at that altar, the one whose hand she held beneath the golden lantern light, was not from Korea at all. When the name finally surfaced, the internet didn't just react, it erupted. In an instant, social media feeds across Korea, Taiwan, Japan, and beyond filled with disbelief, screenshots, and stunned emojis. Ha Ji-won's groom was none other than Taiwanese actor Chen Bolin, the man millions across Asia had admired for his quiet charisma and poetic screen presence. It was the revelation no one had predicted. It's that even her most loyal fans hadn't dared to imagine. Two cinematic worlds, Korea's regal drama empire and Taiwan's introspective indie scene, had collided in a single breathtaking moment. Within an hour of the announcement, hashtags in Korean, Mandarin, and English trended simultaneously. Hajiwon wedding, Chen Bolin. Beyond borders flooded X, Weibo, and Instagram. News anchors interrupted scheduled broadcasts, entertainment reporters scrambled for statements. A single photograph, Ha Ji-won's slender hand resting gently atop Chen Bolin's, went viral, drawing millions of likes within minutes. Connection suddenly made sense. The whispers about a foreign guest, the translator at the ceremony, the Mandarin inscription on the invitation card. All those breadcrumbs led to this revelation. Bolin was no stranger to stardom. Born in Taipei, he began his career in the late 1990s, gradually building a reputation as one of Asia's most nuanced leading men. His breakout film, Blue Gate Crossing, turned him into a household name. His unforgettable role in Time With You cemented his place as a romantic icon. Yet beyond the charm and fame, at a depth that mirrored Ha Ji-won's own, a calm intensity, a refusal to be superficial. Fans had long described him as the actor who never acts, a man who lived every emotion with quiet sincerity. That same sincerity, it seemed, had found its way to Ha Ji-won's heart. Industry insiders soon began piecing together the timeline of their secret romance. The story, as it emerged, was nothing short of cinematic itself. They had first met years ago during an international film festival in Busan. Ha Ji-won was there to present her film, Chen Bolin, to promote a Taiwanese production. They aired a brief panel, exchanged a few words in English, and went their separate ways. Nothing more than polite industry courtesy, or so everyone thought. But fate, unpredictable as ever, put them together again. Months later, both were invited to an Asia-Pacific cultural exchange event in Tokyo. This time, away from the flashing cameras, found themselves seated next to each other at a quiet dinner arranged for guests. According to someone present that evening, chemistry was instant but unspoken. She was thoughtful, and warm. He was witty in a quiet way, thoughtful with his words. They spoke about art, the loneliness of fame, the comfort of silence, the kind of conversation that lingers long after it ends. After that night, messages followed. Professional at first, congratulatory notes, script exchanges, shared thoughts about film. Gradually, friendship deepened into something neither could define yet both could feel. Their relationship, though cross-border, grew in stolen hours. Between shoots, award ceremonies, and flights, they found pockets of time, a dinner in Singapore, a brief walk along the Han River, a private weekend in Jeju. Always away from cameras, always guarded by trust. Those who worked with them recall subtle clues. Ha Ji-won, usually reserved on set, was suddenly radiant. Chen Bolin, for his calm detachment, was often seen smiling at his phone between takes. Assistants exchanged knowing glances but said nothing. It was a love built not on spectacle but on shared silence. Yet, secrecy wasn't easy. Knew the cost of exposure. Cross-cultural relationships between celebrities in Asia had often been sensationalized, dissected until nothing genuine remained. And so, they chose invisibility. There were no selfies, no social media hints, no accidental leaks. The world existed entirely between them, a rare sanctuary of privacy. As one close friend later shared, they wanted to protect their image. They wanted to protect their peace. For years, the public remained oblivious. They crossed paths at industry events, sometimes within meters of each other, yet never exchanging more than a courteous nod in public. When asked in interviews about relationships, both would laugh softly, deflect, and move on. No one realized was that their silence wasn't denial, it was devotion. When they finally decided to marry, it wasn't impulsive. It was deliberate. A vow born from years of quiet understanding. Ha Ji-won reportedly told her inner circle, "I've lived my life in front of millions. This time, I want to live it for myself." Their wedding in Seoul became the ultimate act of love, intimate, orderless, deeply personal. Friends later revealed that the ceremony included elements from both cultures. The music blended traditional Korean instruments with Taiwanese strings. The table centerpieces combined lotus flowers with chrysanthemums. Even the vows, recited in 2 languages, spoke of unity beyond geography. And then there was that moment, when Chen Bolin, eyes glistening, promised in Korean, "No matter where we are, you'll never walk alone." Witnesses said Ha Ji-won's hands trembled as she replied softly in Mandarin, "I finally found my forever home." It wasn't a performance. It was 2 artists exchanging the truest lines they had ever spoken. World, of course, learned none of this until much later. When news finally broke, it was as if every secret note, every hidden glance, every unspoken promise had suddenly come into view. The puzzle pieces aligned, and the picture they formed was breathtaking. Fans reacted first with shock, then with joy. "Believe it's Chen Bolin," one trending post exclaimed. "Our drama crossover has come true," wrote another. Within hours, international fan communities collaborated to create tribute videos, montages of their past interviews, red carpet moments, film clips edited to romantic ballads. The internet, for once, wasn't divided. It was united in celebration. And journalists called it Asia's greatest love story never filmed. Producers speculated that their marriage might spark a new wave of Korean-Taiwanese collaborations. Cultural commentators called it a milestone, a symbolic bridge between 2 entertainment empires. But beyond the glitter of headlines, there was a deeper resonance. Their love story carried meaning that transcended celebrity. In an industry often driven by image, youth, and speed, Ha Ji-won and Chen Bolin had chosen something radical: patience. They reminded audiences that love doesn't expire with age. That connection knows no borders. That privacy can be sacred, not secretive. Days passed, new details surfaced. Guests at the wedding described Chen Bolin as gentle and grounded. One veteran actor said, "He didn't try to match her star power. He simply matched her heart." Another recalled how he personally thanked every staff member, bowing politely in Korean. His humility impressed even those who had doubted the pairing. Meanwhile, Ha Ji-won's colleagues couldn't contain their admiration. A longtime co-star posted a cryptic message: "Some stories are too beautiful for television." A director she had once worked with wrote, "If anyone deserves a happy ending, it's her." Bull, true to form, remained out of the spotlight after the revelation. No public statements. No interviews. Instead, their representatives confirmed that both were taking a short hiatus to focus on personal happiness and family time. Still, the ripple effect of their union continued. Social media platforms buzzed with discussions about changing norms in Asian entertainment, the acceptance of later marriages, cross-cultural relationships, and choosing independence before love. Columnists dubbed Ha Ji-won the woman who rewrote the rules. Fashion analysts revisited her wedding gown, praising its minimalist fusion of Korean hanbok structure and modern Western lines. Relationship experts applauded the couple's discretion, it a model of emotional maturity in an age of oversharing. Cultural critics noted how their union subtly redefined power dynamics: a Korean queen and a Taiwanese prince. Equally luminous, equally human. Taiwan, Chen Bolin's fans responded with overwhelming pride. The actor, who had long represented sensitivity and intellect, had found a partner who embodied grace and strength. "It's like two elements finally meeting their match," a fan wrote on Weibo. "Water and wind. Calm and courage." A few skeptics questioned whether such privacy could last in an era of instant exposure. But those who knew them insisted it wasn't a facade. Survived distance, language barriers, fame, one insider said. They'll survive attention too. Weeks after the revelation, a new image surfaced, not from paparazzi, from a friend's private account. It showed the couple walking side by side in a quiet Seoul park, dressed simply, wearing caps and masks, fingers intertwined. There was no performance, no spotlight. Just two people existing comfortably in each other's presence. Caption read, "Peace." That single photo silenced any remaining doubt. All the speculation, all the noise. This was what it came down to: peace. In the months that followed, the story continued to evolve. Korean and Taiwanese media jointly aired a special documentary tracing their careers and exploring how their paths, though parallel for years, had finally converged. Interviews with former co-stars revealed how both had often spoken about finding someone who understands the silence. The documentary ended with the words, "and then found each other." Fans cried watching it. Not because it was sad, but because it was real. Iwan's marriage to Chen Bolin had become more than a headline. It had become a metaphor for patience rewarded, for love found beyond expectation. Cultural harmony in a divided world. It reminded everyone why people still believe in stories like this, because sometimes reality outwrites fiction. After the frenzy faded, their legacy remained. Korean press referred to them as the bridge couple. These outlets called them Asia's quiet royals. Together, they represented not scandal or spectacle, but serenity. Months later, at an award ceremony honoring her lifetime achievements, Ha Ji-won appeared radiant in an ivory gown, not a wedding dress, but something that echoed it. How she felt about her new chapter. She smiled softly and said, "For the first time, I'm learning what it means to rest." The audience erupted in applause. Behind the scenes, Chen Bolin was spotted waiting for her. No cameras, no red carpet, just a man holding a bouquet of white orchids. His expression filled with quiet pride. And that was how it ended, not with fireworks, but with warmth. Ha Ji-won and Chen Bolin had rewritten the love story Asia didn't know it needed. Not the kind that burns fast and loud. Kind that glows quietly and forever. Their union reminded the world that even legends are human. That even icons seek comfort. Even stars deserve their own sky. In a time when celebrity love stories fade as quickly as they spark, theirs endures, precisely because it was never meant to be a spectacle. It was meant to be sincere. And somewhere in Seoul, perhaps on a quiet evening beneath the same lanterns that once witnessed their vows, the Queen of Korean drama and the gentleman from Taiwan still walk together, proof that love, when patient enough, cross any border and outshine every spotlight.